You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy.
And now, the hunt for the perfect album.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the hunt for the perfect album with Billy and Dave. How you doing, mate?
I'm good because I got to listen to a great album.
Oh, yes! That's exciting.
I love Hanson.
It's Darren Hanlon, not Hanson.
Not Taylor, Zach, and Isaac?
Not the three long-haired boys, no.
Oh.
I know you are a fan of theirs, but we're saving that for true classics.
This is so awkward. I was all prepared to talk about Mbop. I don't know what to do now. So what do you think we're talking about?
The album I gave you is "I Will Love You at All" by Darren Hanlon. Yes, who is a folk pop artist from Queensland, Australia. This is his 2010 album. The first time I saw him live actually was just before this album came out, because he was the support act on the Locksmiths farewell tour in 2009. And he played...
I have a DVD of that tour. He's not on it.
No. And he played several tracks from this album before it had come out, and so I was very excited for it. And I was already a fan of his from some of his previous work, so it was awesome to get to see him live and hear these songs before they were out. But so I'm a massive fan of this album. I can't wait to hear whether you enjoyed it, whether you didn't. Let's get straight into it.
Right. Well, obviously disappointed that Mbop wasn't on it. But I have to look. I will say, this is in the top 3 albums you've given me.
Oh, nice. I thought that it might. I really felt that this was up your alley.
Yeah, and if Charlie Bliss wasn't in the mix, it could be the number 1. This is a really good. He is a wonderful songwriter.
Isn't he a brilliant songwriter?
Wonderful, lyrically, musically.
Yeah.
What often happens when you've got someone who is a really, really good lyricist is they're not necessarily a great, I'll invent a word, melodicist.
Yeah.
The tune is so, but it's all about the lyrics and like your Bob Dylans and your Billy Braggs, and you're just listening to the words. It's poetry with a little bit of backing music.
Yes.
Darren, based purely on this album, because I haven't heard his other stuff.
Oh, mate, honestly.
His lyricism is up there with Billy Bragg, but the kind of the musicianship and the melodies are so much stronger than you would expect from songs that are this lyrically proficient.
Yes.
It's really. I mean, I thought this album was really something quite special.
Oh, I'm so glad you felt the same way, because that's how I felt ever since this album came out. There are some tracks on here that I think are among the greatest songs ever written, and we'll get to it. But and it opens with one of my all-time favorite opening tracks, Butterfly Bones, which is very simple, just him and a guitar, and it's a gorgeous track.
When one year ends and another begins, and the sky is a shower of sparks, with your skinny girl arms with their hairs on their ends like exclamation marks. Well, I admit I was scared, I felt unprepared. If I need you, tell me where you will be. You said it's not surprising, just look to the horizon. It's a circle in the middle is me.
I love that track so much. It's just beautiful.
Just lyrically beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was nervous because you were quite effusively praiseworthy about my album last week. But yeah, safe to say I feel pretty much a similar way. There are no down notes on this album.
Oh, nice.
There are a few tracks that I kind of like them a little bit more. There's one or two that are probably, marginally standouts, but they're not head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah.
All the tracks are really good. There is no chance I would ever skip anything on this album. which is rare. Even the stuff you've given me that I love, even the Charlie Bliss albums, I'll skip some songs to get to other songs.
Yep.
Which, even though I've given them like 9 out of 10 and stuff, it kind of, they don't quite fit the bill for this show.
Yeah.
This album is one of the ones that absolutely fits the bill for the show. Yeah. Because the songs are all so close together in terms of how good they are.
Yeah.
There is nothing I would ever skip.
And I feel like this is a similar one to last week as well, where stylistically and lyrically it's a really cohesive album, and yet I do think there's quite a lot of diversity amongst the tracks.
Oh, because the melodies are so pronounced.
Yeah.
Normally with this sort of song, and I mean I'm preaching to the choir because you live in this space, but normally with this kind of music, the melody is not the pronounced thing. The melody is nice. It's pleasing.
Yeah.
It's sort of is sitting in this kind of twee postal servicey space.
Yeah.
But it's about the lyrics and the words, and the melody is deliberately kind of minimal but pleasant, so the words can shine. Hey, some of these tracks have such pronounced melodies.
Yeah.
I thought of you as my companion. I thought that you might be a flower growing at the bottom of a canyon. Days they fly and nights they fall, make no sense to me at all. Just little tricks of temperature and light that cast their spell on everyone. So let the golden vines of modern history.
I am so stoked that you enjoyed this album. Do you have a favorite track, or is it similar to me last week where it's too hard to choose at this point?
Oh, I can narrow it down to 2 or 3 for sure. But they all have things on it. Like that was Modern History that you just played. Like, not one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites. It's on this album. It's not in my top sort of 2 or 3, but there are things about that I think are amazing. Like the delayed lyric drop before it hits the chorus.
Yeah.
Where you expect the lyrics to drop and they don't, and then they hit like a beat later.
Yeah. Yep.
That alone makes this track memorable.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the chorus, it's got such an amazing melody to it. But you're already remembering the song because it's got this amazing little half beat kind of hesitation.
That's how I feel about all this. I mean, track 3, Scenes from a Separation.
One of my favorites. I love it.
One of the longest tracks. It's 5 minutes 40 and it barely has a chorus. It's very repetitive when you look at it on face value. And yet the lyrics are strong. The story is great. It's
weird. I mean, obviously the title of the song, but it reminds me of one of my all-time favorites, Billy Joel. He's got a song called Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, which does not have a through line melody through the song. It's got, it jumps 3 times through different melodies, different everything, but still manages to be this kind of cohesive and wonderful creation.
Yeah.
And absolutely in my top 3. I love this song.
We earmarked our August vacation as a fine place to fall apart, and we heard that a trial separation was a quaint idea for a new start. Then the city approached like a bandit. My hands shook as they gripped the wheel, as if I'd always known there's no place like home to show you the way that you feel.
This song has one of my favorite couplets of lyrics of all time, which is, now we weren't together forever, but then what the hell does that mean? One person's lifetime, the history of mankind, or the years since we turned 17. And I just, every time he gets to that line, it just floors me. I just love it so much.
I tell you what we need to do. We need to do a top 10 lines from songs.
Yeah, we should. Yes.
Because you and I are the same. We home in on individual lines or couplets or whatever. It could be a song that's shit, but we'll still zero in on this one selection of words that we just think is perfect.
Yeah,
and I could rattle off 5 off the top of my head.
Yeah, same. I mean, looking at the next track, All These Things, this is another one a countdown that I've had going in the back of my head, and it wouldn't work for the podcast, but maybe we should do it for YouTube sometime, is favorite video clips. Because the video clip for All These Things is gorgeous. It's all one take, and it's filmed in like a school gymnasium, and like the background changes like a school play and stuff. And it was actually filmed and directed by Natalie Van Nungen, who also directed the Lucksmiths Farewell Tour DVD. But I can't fault any of these songs.
I love this song.
Yeah.
I love it.
From every shadow there are things that follow you. From your late night dead end job, from the old neighborhoods where you grew. There's a falling satellite.
Thought keeps me awake at night.
There's a chocolate fondue.
There's no nutritional value.
There's a ground invasion
with complete color coordination.
There's a sleepover.
I saw your face there and I knew that was coming, because I know that one of your favorite things is a back and forth song between.
and in this case, it's so unexpected.
Yeah.
None of the previous songs have had noticeable backup vocals. Certainly not the female backup vocal. When it came in, so unexpected, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I love this!" It reminded me of, and I know you weren't the hugest fan of the album, but it reminded me of The Beautiful South, where they have a lot of songs where you've got Paul Heaton, but then you've got female kind of call and return type vocals. This was my favorite song on the album at this point.
Okay, right.
I don't know if it stayed that way.
Interesting, because we haven't hit either of my two favorites yet.
Oh,
but we're about to, because I think one of the greatest songs ever written in the history of time is House.
I think not my favorite, but I love it.
I think the lyrics to this song and the story that it tells are absolutely stunning. This idea of, revisiting this old house that you and your, partner lived in, and seeing it in such a different state that it kind of sends you into a panic attack. I honestly,
it's beautifully written.
I think it's just gorgeous.
I went walking one day. My path might well have been drawn by committee. For all the time in the world I went wending my way. It's true, I've never been known for my thinking. Some would say vague, and I'd say that's fair. But I couldn't lie to a face without blinking. Can you believe I'd forgot what I'd find there? For there stood the house like it had done forever.
Again, the production of this track I think is gorgeous. The way it builds from that bare guitar and his voice to this full wall of sound by the end is just stunning. That, honestly, one of my favorite songs ever written. I love it.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Not probably in my top 3 on this album.
Okay,
but there's no down notes on it. Like, I love every song on this album, so that's not really a negative.
Yeah.
I loved track 6, If Only My Heart Were Made of Stone, which is super short.
Yeah.
But it's particularly after House, it's this kind of joyous adrenaline kick. In terms of the melody, that I just immediately went, oh fuck, I love this.
Yeah.
Did they hear them too? Did they get back to haunt them again? If only my heart were made of stone, I'd lock the door and stash the key neath where it's written home sweet home. And only call if I'd remember. If only my heart were made of stone.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. Everything about it makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, then we get to what was for a long time my favorite. And even though I think House is one of the best songs of all time, Folk Insomnia might be my favorite track on the album.
This is the one I thought might be your favorite.
Yeah. Well, this is the one that he played when I saw him live as kind of a tease of this album. And I fell in love with it then. I had it stuck in my head that whole night, bought the album as soon as it came out, and I just think it's brilliant.
There's rumbling in the head again. Inside the head there lived the brain. Inside the brain there lived the dream that shot round like a laser beam. Along nerve endings and synapses, past the room for memory lapses, brought about by alcohol that causes all the cell collapses.
Oh man, again the melody of it, but the musicianship of the guitar.
It could be one. It could be one of the best written songs lyrically that I've ever come across.
Yeah,
it is so clever.
Yep, and that's one of those songs.
The words, it's amazing.
It's one of those songs.
As I heard that, I thought Billy fucking loves this track.
Because it's one of those tracks like what you were kind of talking about earlier, where for a lesser musician, the lyrics alone would be enough that would still be a great song. But his melody and guitar work is so strong. And that song is just him and the guitar. It's one take. It's practically a live recording. Like
that track is one that, if there weren't already 1,000 tracks that did this, that would be one that made me want to know how to play guitar. Because even before he starts actually singing, I'm already going, I want to be able to do that shit.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Then track 8, Home. This was my favorite for a while. Really? I don't know if it still is. I just thought it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful song.
I did what everyone else does. I drifted back to my hometown, with my restless heart kept hidden deep within my chest. I knew, they'd have to take me back again.
Yeah, I should have been able to pick that would have been one of your favorites, actually. Yeah.
It's not as showy as some. Showy is a terrible term because it makes it sound like it's the other songs are trying to be impressive.
Yeah.
It's more simplistic, but something about it is just beautiful. That
yeah.
In the just like every time it comes on, it's just like I just kind of fucking melt and just go, oh my god, I love this so much.
Yeah. I am so glad that you liked this. I thought that you would, but I didn't think that we get this level of reception to it. So that's awesome. Yeah.
No, this is an incredible. I don't know why this fucking guy is not famous on a world stage. I get that. Like, I'd heard his name, so he's obviously not a nobody. I don't keep up to date with stuff because my head's already full of music. I don't need more. And I had heard his name, so he's obviously not an unknown locally.
Yeah, although
I don't
8,000 monthly listeners.
That's
it.
Fucking wild to me.
And hopefully
we can double that surely.
Yeah. And his most streamed song is All These Things, which is only 400,000. Like, wow. Isn't that wild?
That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
How he is not famous on the world stage. You know, how are Mumford and Sons multi-fucking billion listeners, etc. And don't get me wrong, I like Mumford and I like his sons. And I very much like his wife. But they're not better than this.
Yeah. If you liked this, I would very much recommend checking out some of his earlier albums. Hello Stranger.
I will.
Hello Stranger and Little Chills. which are his second and third album, I think are close to this level, but this is my favorite of his. And even the albums he's released after this, he put one out in 2022 called Life Tax, which is, again, a really strong album. So, and he's still touring and stuff.
I will listen to everything he's got available based on the strength of this album.
Nice.
What haven't we covered? Buy Me Presents is good. I like it.
Yeah.
What can we say? Look, weirdly, kind of like what we said for Pet Sounds a little, when we were talking about that. If I had to pick a weak point, it's probably the last track.
Yep.
It's not shit.
Yeah.
But given how kind of exalted the rest of the album is, it's a slightly disappointing ending, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not. It is my least favorite song on the album.
No, that's totally fair. All right. So how are you scoring this album then?
Oh, 9 out of 10. Love it.
Nice. All right. What are you going to give me next week, mate? Are we going back to the Gizzard?
I was gonna do it, and then I checked the spreadsheet and I saw what I actually had in there, and I was like, "How the fuck is this not in True Classics?" Our much vaulted patron series of the best albums of all time, which everyone should be listening to. If they're not, head over to patreon.com/Pottymouth Radio. No, I can't swap this out. We are doing Hot Fuss by the Killers.
Okay.
How the hell this is in contention for this is beyond me.
Never listened to it, so I'm keen.
You're aware there's a band called the Killers.
I know of the Killers, and I know. I mean, obviously,
you know Mr. Bright.
Everybody knows Mr. Brightside.
This is what's so wild to me. You had Mr. Brightside in your one of your countdowns of
I think it was drinking songs, maybe. Yeah,
greatest something songs.
Yeah.
How you are not aware of the album it came from is beyond me.
I'll get there, I promise. But thank you, listeners, for sticking with us. We hope you've enjoyed this album as much as we did. We've been on a hot streak lately, so hopefully the Killers is going to keep us there.
It'll continue next week. Next week is one of the greatest albums of all time.
As Dave said, you can go check out the patreon.com/Pottymouth Radio. You can find us at pottymouthradio@gmail.com. You can find us at pottymouthradio.com and go join the Facebook listener community. You know what? Since we played almost every track on I Will Love You At All, I'm going to play a Darren Hanlon song from a different album.
What?
Probably,
that's crazy.
Probably his first song I really fell in love with from his 2005 album Little Chills. It's I Wish That I Was Beautiful For You.
Wish that I was beautiful for you. I wish that I inspired tiny fireworks inside the way you do. So delicately made, a prayer left unprayed before the morning sky fade up to blue. And I wish that I was beautiful for you. I wish that somehow I could find a pill for a quick fix modern tonic that would change me with one swallow I would kill. Watch folks line up to pay, stare at me all day, but I'd turn them all away if that be thy will. One tiny little innocuous pill.